to record.
Yeah, I started recording and your screen is also sharing. So
Sure. Just one more minute. I can see Kiran joined, Aditi joined. Welcome, Aditi. Welcome, Kiran, for joining. Would you like to introduce ourselves? We are going to win the war with mind. We want to know who are the battalions we are having before starting the war.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Manisha here.
Hari Bol, Manisha Mataji.
Mataji, I want you to speak something like I have problems with reading and I cannot focus. That time the biggest war comes in my mind, and I want to focus and I need a push from my inside whenever it comes to reading. So
Sure.
I can do anything on the earth, but when it comes to reading, I just cannot focus. Yeah.
Sure. Definitely you will cover it as we go.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So it's 5. Chintan, Prabhu, shall we start?
yes, Mataji, we can start with the prayers and people
Sure.
and then again we'll all join.
Let's all recite together. It's a simple prayer. I'm not going to recite a long prayer. As everybody, as I said, we are going to win the war against our mind. So let's start with the prayer. All the battalion together. I'm unmuting you all. We will recite 3 times together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ready?
Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Once again, welcome everybody to know we will get to know how to win the war with your mind. So it's very interesting topic, and let's see. We'll focus on how to do that. So just an introduction about myself. I'm Shyama Prayasi. I'm graduated in the engineering, the branch of electrical and electronics from Anna University, and I did my master's. I'm working in IT industry for the past 15 years in US and in India. So I joined Ashkan in 2015. For the past 5 years, I'm practicing the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So I'm living in New Jersey with my family. I have a kid, and I have been mentoring and coordinating with Chintan for arranging speakers. So before getting into the topic, anyone of the participant know who is he? Who are you seeing in the picture? Do you know anything about him? What is his name? Any guess?
Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. So before starting, I don't want you guys to mute until you feel that you have a lot of disturbance or your any housing or any sort of noisy things going around. It's sort of an interactive class. Please unmute yourself. Let's have discussion, and then we can use this 1 hour in a fruitful way. So as you said, his name is Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. He traveled to New York, the Western world, in 1966. And before he passed away by 1977. In this 12 years of timeline, he did a lot. I'm just trying to tell what he did. He circled the entire globe 14 times and gave lectures across 6 continents. He introduced the Vedic Gurukul education to the Western world. And he is the founder of Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust, which claims to be the largest publisher for ancient and classical textbooks. He was an author of 80 books, and he watched ISKCON to grow more than 108 temples, form communities, various institutes in matter of just 12 years. So you all might be thinking, so you said we are going to fight a war and you are showing a person, okay, he is an author, he did something, how is it matter for me? Someone he did something, okay, so what, right? So what he did for us and why we are talking about him in this class about Win the Mind. So every human deserves to live a happy life. Yes or no? No?
Yes.
Your silence says yes or no.
Yes, yes.
No? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So the default formula most of us think is our internal happiness depends on the outside world or the externals. The people, health, the money, fame, bank balance, etc. So if any of the thing goes wrong, we will feel frustrated and we will feel like, no, I'm not happy, right? If you
Right.
see your salary credited to your account on the first of the month, you will be very happy. Oh my God, I'm having so much money in my account. At the same time, at day 29 or 30 of the month, if it is getting drained to say $10, your feeling would be just this. And you will feel a frustration. How much ever I work, I'm not having much money. So 50 years back, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada challenged this default formula and started teaching a very, very inside out formula from Bhagavad Gita that your internal happiness depends on how you are internally connected with God, not with the external factors such as stated like people, money, fame, or whatever it is. So he gave the simple formula of no God, no happiness, no God, it's no happiness. So is this formula worked? Absolutely, it worked with millions of peoples worldwide. And as I said, in 1977, it is 108 ISKCON temples all around the world. Now it is in 800 plus locations. We are helping, we got happiness out of this formula and we are helping to spread this knowledge across everybody. So we just want to see others being happy. So why are we here? Just to know how to be happy. So let's see what is the formula behind it. So in this session of 1 hour, we are going to see about these topics. Why war with mind? Let's understand first what is mind. Okay, I understood. Then let's go in depth. What is the function of mind? Where is the mind located? Is the mind tricks me? If yes, how it will trick me? Or will it attack me? Let's find a solution, how it will trick me. So there are threefold miseries which is present in each and everyone, every human, everyone in this world. Those are Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. So far I was speaking in English. Now it's like a terminology is like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I couldn't understand, right? It's about the threefold mysteries. If we take a little one step ahead and read the meaning of it, it's the miseries arising from nature which we don't have control. I can refer to Corona. Do anyone of us control? I will unmute. As I said, let's take it as an interactive. If I keep talking, then it would be boring. It's a simple question as though, do any one of you have control over Corona? Do you know when there will be vaccine?
No.
No, it is not in our control. Even if tsunami comes, we don't know. Nothing is in our control, which is related to the nature. Those are Adi Daivika. Adi Bhautika means it is the miseries inflicted by other living beings. I can say a simple example of a mosquito biting you. You don't have a control, though you can apply some creams, but you can't avoid it. Just starting from a simple mosquito to other living beings have control on us for our miseries. The next one is the miseries arises from mind and body. Body, we know, I'll get headache, knee pain, back pain. We don't have any control. We can take some tablets, do some yoga, asanas, try to come out of it, but it's not in our control. I don't know when I will get a headache. The major portion of this is the mind, which we are going to see today. So looking at the picture, what do you guys feel about this person? Anyone? Any guess?
Sometimes the mind is quiet, calm, and sometimes it's shouting.
Shouting. So you are seeing one person this side. So it's the same person. He is externally he is calm, but from his head something is popping out with the same face. How is this feeling looks like?
All this could just be like the dilemma, right? Like you sometimes you don't know you don't know how to decide. It's a yes or a no, or you don't know which choice to make.
Exactly. So say I'll give an example. You are sitting in your Scrum meeting and your Scrum Master or your project lead is telling you or giving you a very, very tight deadline of you should finish it in 3 days. And you are thinking that this estimation is so crucial. I definitely need 2 weeks. So you cannot say it out, but you will scream inside your mind, no, this is not possible. That is going on inside your mind. But to the outside world, you will show a happy face, a smiley face. Let's see, we'll try it out. Most of the time, we couldn't figure out. As just an example to make you understand. Our mind is screaming behind, but we are showing a very happy, calm, peace face. So we should acknowledge that our mind within us is our first enemy, our enemy. So these are the latest news. You can see about the suicides, feeling the pressure and the stress of the pandemic. The suicide hotline calls are 800% spike. It's not 800, it's 800% spike in the call. And one of the person committed suicide had a note that my brain is my enemy. And we all know the latest news. One of the Bollywood actor, he has a lot of fame, lot of money, but he committed suicide, I think last week. So because all is due to our mind is not in our control. It is trying to trick us and we are falling for it. So the expectation is we will focus our mind to do a particular thing. This example it's shown here is the convex lens. So we are focusing our sunlight towards the paper to burn it, but the reality is everything is getting distracted. Say I'll give an example. I'll think that I want to focus and try to finish my work before my morning meeting start. So when I was focusing on that, first thing I will get it in my phone. So I'll think, okay, someone messaged. No, I'm trying to focus on my work. Next minute, I will get another ting ting, ting ting. I was like, I couldn't control. I was like, I want to see whose message is it? Who is it thinking of me right now? I'll get maybe other messages in the groups. I will scroll down. Another message will come in Facebook. Then I will scroll down. It will eat my 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So even though like I'm thinking that no, I need to focus, I'm easily getting distracted and I couldn't come back. This happens even like when you are going to bed, you will think that, okay, just for 30 minutes, I'll browse through the Facebook. But when you are done with browsing, it might be like 1 hour, 2 hours. It's all our focus is getting distracted. That is the reality. So some frequently asked questions. What is the mind? Can anyone tell me what, once when you hear the word mind, what is it coming in your mind?
A ping pong match.
Nice. Anyone else?
The substance inside a skull.
Inside the skull? Yep.
I don't know.
Nice. So inside the skull is the brain or mind? Something.
I
Okay,
think,
fine.
yeah, something which we
Something,
cannot
okay.
see or feel.
So where is it? As you said, it's something inside the skull. So for now, we will consider the mind is inside the skull. So is it a real thing or imagination?
Real
I
thing.
think it's I mean, we cannot see it,
Mhm.
I
but
think
it
it's
is.
imagination.
Just now you said it's inside the skull. Then if you open the skull, we can see it.
No, no.
So we
I
are
don't
not
know,
sure
actually.
that that
Yeah,
particular
I'm not sure.
substance inside the skull is mind or brain, right?
Mhm. Yeah, there is some difference between the brain and the mind.
Yeah.
Brain is like tangible, you can see it, and the mind is something else.
So if we just search for the word mind in Google, we may get a different synonyms for it. It says like many things, including awareness, intelligence, memory, attention, intention, maybe determination. And I can go on with this. There are so many references for it. Then we have this, am I this mind or different from it? Is my mind my best friend? If it is my best friend, what is that I'm going to do with it? Why am I need to fight with it? Do any one of us fight with our best friend? No, right?
Always.
Always. Okay. So this is the scriptural point of view, or just an overview of where the mind is. So as you see, these horses are the different senses. One is the eyes, ears, nose. So these 5 horses are tied with a rope. That rope is the mind. And a driver is sitting in this chariot and he is controlling this horse with this rope. That driver is the intelligence. And the passenger who is sitting in this chariot is the soul. So nowadays we don't get an opportunity to go in this chariot. Maybe in a current situation, if I can refer, when you are hiring a Uber. So you are the soul, you are the passenger, you want to go to a destination. And the driver, the Uber driver is the intelligence. And the steering wheel is the mind. And the 4 wheels are your senses. If you think that, do the wheel decide where you need to go? No. Is your steering wheel decide where you need to go? No. Is the driver deciding where you need to go? You are the one who are deciding where you should go. So you are higher in the hierarchy. But if the wheel is not aligned properly, if the steering is not in your control, if the driver is drunk or sleeping, you might not reach your destination. So intelligence should be in a proper way. More than that, even if the driver is intelligent and have very good driving skill and driving license, he should be able to have that steering in his control. Unless and until if it is there, then we might met or end up in an accident. or we might not reach the place where we need to go. So I'm not cooking up the story of what I said, this sense, mind, intelligence. It is there, given in our sastras, and our God itself, the Supreme Personality of God itself, have the reference to it. It is the reference from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 42, with reference to intelligence and mind. It's Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhyaha param manaha manasastu para buddhir yo buddhi parantu sa. So anyone volunteering to read the translation? Go ahead.
Secondary.
Sure.
The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than intelligence.
So this is what we saw with the example of a chariot and the Uber or car example. So the senses are superior to the dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. But the soul is even higher than the intelligence. So there is a difference between mind and intelligence, as the English synonyms word state for mind. It's an intellect. That is not correct. Mind is something different from intelligence. Then what is mind? So it's a difference, like mind and brain is the software and hardware. To better understand how the mind shapes the soul-body interaction, let us use an example of computer metaphor. We can compare our body is like a hardware, mind is like a software, and soul is the user using it. Nowadays, even kids are having laptop and using it. You can think that your kid is like a user, the soul. Mind is the software installed in your laptop, and your body is the hardware, that's the laptop. So in the mind, there are stored a lot of impressions of past, pleasant and unpleasant experience, right? If you go back and think about your school or college, you will able to get some very good memories. At the same time, you might end up like, no, that subject I failed, that teacher is always yelling at me. So you will have loads and loads of pleasant and unpleasant experiences.
File version.
I'm sorry. Okay. So unfortunately, with this lot of memories we are collecting, that will distort our software. The mind imagines the pleasure even if it is a small thing. And even if it is an insignificant thing, it will make you to think like it is horrible, it is not a pleasant one. So it will exaggerate your even insignificant problem and make you to distract from the important task which you want to do. As I said, I want to focus on my work, but my mind is distracting me to look into my phone and I'm wasting my time. It is giving me or telling me the unimportant task, which is checking my messages, is prior to my planned work. So over a period of time, these sort of memories are like a script to the software, drains my energy or drains the processes in the software, which will make the hardware itself go worse, bad. That's the reason we need to mind our mind. So when we can able to mind our mind, then we can able to make use of our intelligence to refocus the mind to what we need. So as we discussed, like I use the term mind, intelligence, and soul. So Bhagavad Gita gives a better understanding of what is mind. As you can see here, you can see three persons, one standing in the front of the mirror, that is the body. Everybody will think we If someone asks, who are you? Then we will consider we as the body, right? The visible material covering is our body. The next level is the mind. It is the subtle mechanism which interface the body and the soul. Okay, where is the soul? That is the third level, this blue man, which is the essence of everything. This soul makes the body and mind seem alive. So, am I not this body? Are you trying to say, am I the soul? You guys are with me? I'm telling, I am not this body, I am the soul. What is your understanding, or what are you thinking? Are you your body, or you are different than your body? I won't proceed if anyone says any answer. I'll ask by naming. I can see Kiran unmuted yourself.
Yo, can you repeat your question? You're saying body.
I'm saying I'm not the body. But in this picture, I'm showing you 3 persons standing. The first one is the body. The second is mind. And third one is the soul. So I'm saying I am not this body. I am the soul. So if I stand before the mirror, I will see the body. I cannot see my mind, or I cannot see my soul. Have you ever felt that you are your body, or I'm not this body?
Yeah, if you see the mirror, the physical presence, it will tell you they're all
That
together.
you are
Like,
this body.
yeah, but you're all together, right? We said like we have brain, we have intelligence. What you think, and your intelligence says do something, and through mind will tell the senses that you do it, like smelling, whatever, do the activities.
Thank you, Kiran, for telling us. So I used to say to my son, how to say, like, I'm not this body. When he was a baby in my arms like this, I named him. I used to call him by that same name, what I named him. After, like, when he started to walk, his bodily feature changed, but still I'm calling him by the same name. Now he is 11 years old. He is not looking the same when he born, but still I'm calling the same name. Even if he becomes 40, so I'm naming that. So the body changes all time. Each and every minute the body is changing, but I'm having the same name for him. I'm identifying him. I am identifying him with that body, but he is not the body. A simple example is when a person dies, we say he has passed away or he left his body, right? We are showing the person right here, he left his body, but the body is here. Then who left the body? So something inside the body that left his body.
That is soul, yeah.
Exactly. That makes the body to be in a dead state. That's where the soul is passed away, right? So we are knowingly or unknowingly saying that he passed away, he left the body. So in our subtle consciousness, we know that we are not this body, we are the soul inside. So the mind and the soul are different. Yes, the soul is the root of consciousness and mind is the route of consciousness. The mind is the medium which the soul interacts with this body and the world outside us. But the soul is the consciousness, which our mind is simply reflecting our soul's consciousness to the external factor. How does this mind works? Have you ever know about this term, ventriloquism, or looking at the picture? Have you ever seen this in any of the movies or any shows? Anyone able to guess what it is? I'm showing the definition in my screen itself. It's not a rocket science. It's a puppeteer show. Any guess what the person will do with the toy? Anyone?
He'll basically say what he wants a toy to say.
Exactly. But when we are watching that show, we will feel that the toy is speaking, right? Maybe as an adult, I know that he's tricking me, but when we were a kid, when we watching, we will think that that toy is also speaking. So that exactly our mind is telling to us. Mind is making us to work or tell what it wants us to tell. But we are thinking we are telling that, but it's not us. The mind is trying to tell us. That's okay. It's my friend. It is with me forever from the moment I born. What's wrong with it? But the mind is magnifying the problem. It is telling me everything is out of my control. We will try to worry that just I will be thinking I want to buy a home, maybe after 3-4 years. But from now on itself, I will be worrying, oh, will I be able to make the down payment? How much down payment should I save for now? If I want to buy a 500K house after 3 years, will I be able to make it? Or I can say a simple example now, as like the first slide itself we saw, we don't have any control over the nature, but every one of us are worrying about when we will go back to our office, when the school will open, if the office asks us to come to work starting Monday, what will be the impact? Am I safe to go or not? Are you guys worrying about it?
Yep.
We don't know what will happen. Whether Trump will ask us to come to office, even if Trump's ask, whether our manager will ask, our company will ask, what will the school board decide? We don't know. We don't know anything about our future. Even the next 5 minutes, what we'll do, we don't know, but we will start to worry about this. What is it making us to worry? Our brain is making us to magnify this, like what will if I go and if no one has mask and if some of my colleague has corona, then I will get it. How will I travel to my work? If I need to take a public transport, is it safe? So our mind keeps on telling that, magnifying the problem, and it is not allowing us to live in the present moment. It is making us to think either the past, unpleasant memories, or the future. We are not sure whether it will be pleasant or unpleasant, but it is making us to think either the past or future. We are not living the current moment. Any one of us agree with me? Did it ever happen with you? We will take our kids to park or a movie, want to enjoy. In between, while watching the movie itself, my thought will go like, oh my God, what I will cook for tomorrow? What would be my lunch? Will I call someone? All my to-do list will come in the first place, especially for moms. What I will cook for breakfast, what I will cook for lunch, whether I need to prepare this dish for my kid, this one for my hubby. The to-do list will come for a future, or either we will think about the past fight or discussion which we had with our lovable ones, or friends, or neighbors. We forget the moment of going to park. The reason behind is to spend some good quality time with our family. Are you guys agreeing? Yes or no?
Yeah. Very much.
Very much. Yep. So our mind is a friend or not? Bhagavad Gita has a reference to it. Bandhur atmanastasya yenatmaivena jitaha anatmanastu sastrutve vartetatmaiva shatrutvat. Any volunteers to read the translation?
For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy.
Exactly. That is why we are here. So if we conquer our mind, we can make it as a friend. It will help us a lot. If we fail to do it, the mind will control us and it will become our greatest enemy. So we accepted, yes, mind is our enemy. So before getting gear up to fight against the mind, let's ready with the, we are here as like, how many I'm seeing, 20 participants, we are 20 member battalion. Let's see how our enemy will attack. Then we will put together a plan together how we will counterattack our enemy. So 3 ways our mind will attack us. It's bad, it's bind, agitate, and distract. These are the 3 ways our mind will try to attack. So if we know what are the possibilities the mind will attack me, I can very well prepared to fight against it. So the first one, what we saw is the bind, right? The mind will bind us with this 4 concept of sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. So I know everybody might have this experience. I don't want to put you guys on the spot. Just an example I will say for myself. I used to put an alarm. Say if I want to wake up by 6 o'clock, I know for sure I need to wake up by 6 o'clock. But if you see my alarm, I'll keep it from 5 o'clock, 5, 5:10, 5:20, 5:30, 10 minutes. Each snooze give me a more pleasure and I will feel like I achieved a lot. But do you guys think I will wake up by 6? Never. I'll snooze it again and again. Then I turn off the alarm. I'll wake up by 7:30. If I need to rush to office at 8, I'll wake up 7:30. Once getting ready, it will be 7:45. Like, okay, my son, you eat at school. My husband eat in your office. I will eat at home, my office. Or sometime like, okay, no, I need to cook. Fine. 7:30, maybe I will multitask. I will put it on the stove and I will bathe and come. I will ask my husband for help. 10 minutes, we can just make something. So the snoozing time gives more pleasure to me. My mind will say that 10 minutes is enough for cooking. What you gonna do by waking up at 6? Yesterday, you had a long day, you worked a lot. Definitely, you need to look after your body, else you will get back pain. Anyone is with me? I have this always snoozing my alarm. Am I the only one bad here? Are anyone with me?
No. Yeah, even me.
Yeah. Nice. So I have 2 person with me. Rest all are very good people who won't snooze your alarm. Good to know.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, thank you. So another example I can tell is for diabetics or sugar patients, doctor might advise that you should not eat any sweets. I remember my grandpa had diabetes. So he will tell me like, watch whether your mom come, I will just eat the sweet. Are they afraid of the other person? Whether they will yell at us? No, right? It is for their own health benefit. Doctor is advising don't eat sweet. But mind is tricking us, just have some pleasure in eating the sweet. Mind will trick us to eat more, whatever is not good for us. I'm sorry. So these 4, which I said, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. Do you think is there any difference between these 4 activities with human and animals? Animals is also sleeping. Animals is also eating. Animals are also enjoying, mating with themselves. If some issues or some fight come, they will defend. Is there any difference with these four: sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending with a human and an animal? No. We have one more sixth sense with us. So we are not the same as our animals. So we should use that sixth sense to find out why are we here? What is the purpose of life? To make it interesting, that is the reality also. Next one is agitate. The first one is mind will bind us. Next is it will agitate. As you see here, we are trapping the mouse with the cheese. Similarly, as you can see here in this smoking cigarette packet top itself, they have written smoking is injurious to health or smoking kills. And if we go to any movie, before the movie starts, they are saying that, right, smoking kills, alcohol is injurious. We know that it is written, but still our mind will agitate us to use that just for pleasure. Similarly, how we are tapping the mouse. The third one, mind uses, this is a very powerful weapon, distract. Do you know who is this guy?
Shane Warne.
Yeah. So initial days when he was like, if he is the bowler, our batsman used to scare a lot. If I'm like, sure, think it's LBW. This guy used to scream a lot. By his screaming itself, our batsman will sweat and they will do a mistake. If he climbs for 10 LBWs, one might be a true one. He himself know that, but just he is screaming. He knowingly, like he know that, yep, this is not a mistake, but he is trying to scream. What is he trying to do? Any cricket lovers?
Distraction.
Distraction, exactly. He is just trying to distract the focus of the batsman. So he will do some mistake, he can get him out. That exactly the brain is doing to us. Brain is trying to distract us. So it's a general saying, keep calm and carry on. Is it working in that way? We will try, be calm, it will work. No, it is not happening in the same way. So is everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
We figured out our weapons, what's our enemy. Thank you. So let's see. This is a reference from Bhagavad Gita. Anybody want to try the Sanskrit verse? If it is not too much to ask, just give it a try. Anyone? Just to make the session a little more interactive.
Yeah, I can try.
Sure, go ahead. Thank you.
चंचलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथि बल वृद्धडं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायुरिव सुदुष्करम्.
Thank you so much. Translation, any other volunteers?
The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Thank you so much. So this is the verse, this is the dialogue Arjuna, one among the Pandavas, telling to Krishna. So do you think we can able to control the wind? We couldn't see it, but he is telling, I can control the wind, but controlling the mind is impossible. He's a great Kshatriya, great fighter. He himself is telling, I couldn't control the mind. So we know our enemy, but we can't control him. So let's do what we can do. So mind, a danger, right? Like you called us to say we will win the war against mind, and you are seeing we cannot control it. So what to do? So anyone of you are having pets at home here or in India? Dog, cat, or yours or your neighbors? You seen anyone having dog? Yes, no?
Yes.
So when you are getting a dog, the first day, it's small puppy like this. You're getting it at home. Do you think it will listen to you on your first day? Okay, let
No.
it be the 5th day, 1 month. No, it might go and be on your costly couch. It will go here and there. It won't sleep on its specified bed. So, will you fed up and give that dog back? No, right? You loved the dog and you bought it. You cannot get rid of him because he is not listening to you. So, what you can do, you can train the dog to listen to you. You will get books or you will get consultant from the dog shop where you bought the dog. You will get the tips and tricks to train it, practice it, take the dog out, show the place where it need to be. It should not do it. Or you can train him with the ball. Whatever you want him to do, you will spend your time and energy, try to practice it, and finally it will be success. The dog will listen to you. But you can say training the dog is very easy, right? We have so many books available. There are so many pet shops available, so many trainers available. You can pay them, they will train your dog, right? So we can also get books to figure out how we can train our mind. We cannot control the mind, but we can practice and train the mind to make your mind work according to you. So I said, so do we have books available? Yes, of course. We have Bhagavad Gita, which what we are reading so far. Bhagavad Gita has all the manuals and steps. Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book as only Hindus or whoever practicing Sanatana Dharma should follow. It is a simple manual of how one should live and how one should not live. So the next verse, it's quite interesting. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamsayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihyate. Any volunteers for translation?
Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment.
Exactly. What our dog trainers are doing, they are not doing by themselves. As I said, Bhagavad Gita is a manual telling us what we need to do. So here Krishna is telling, it is difficult to curb the mind, but you can practice, and by detachment, you can make what you want him to do. The next one is from chapter 2, verse 59. Vishayamini vartante niraharasaya dehina rasa vajram rasopiyasya param drishtve nivartate. Any volunteers? Okay.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
Exactly. So, two things. You cannot control your mind. You can practice and engage your mind to make your mind to listen to you. Okay, let's see what we can do. How to fight back. If you want to win the mind, the war with mind, we need to have our counterattack, our weapons ready. So, what is our weapons? It's three things. First is associate, illuminate, meditate. So far, what we read is we are not this mind. We are different from mind. According to Bhagavad Gita, we saw there is a war with our mind inside our head that makes us create a lot of stress, anxiety. We know now who is our enemy, right? Mind is our enemy. How to operate, or how it will operate us? It will bind us, agitate us, distract us. Now we are preparing our weapon to counterattack the mind with association, illumination, and meditation. So, what is association? We should have a good association to have our mind with us. Say, I'm just giving an example. I'm having a, say, I'm smoking a lot. I want to give up this habit. But if I associate with my friends who is a chain smoker, do you think I will be able to give up my smoking habit?
No.
Don't think of me weirdly. I'm not a smoker. I'm just giving you an example. No, right? My friend will call me, hey, come on, I'm smoking 20 or 30 cigarettes per day. Just come, give a company for just 1 year. I'm going alone. So I'll feel like, okay, just one, right? Today only, tomorrow I won't. Sure, promise, I won't. The next day also he will call me. Yesterday you came with me, I'm going alone. I can never able to come out of my habit. But if I associate with one who hates that smoking, who won't smoke at all, if I say just one, I wanna smoke, he will tell me, why you wanna smoke now? Let's do something. So you have the stress that you wanna smoke now. Let's do something. Let's go for a park. Let's go and play cricket. Let's go and watch a movie. Let's do something different. Let's read some books. Let's do something else. He will try to help me to distract my focus of smoking, and I will be able to get out of that. So what I need to have, the first one is association. In association, I should have a good association so that I can able to continue whatever I'm trying to do. As before starting, Chandani Mataji, you was asking, whenever you are feeling to read a book, your mind tells you not to read it. Is your question right? Did I get it right? Chandani? Yep. Okay. So how can you come out of it is you can have a friend, a wallet. You can have your friend who loves to read your book. Even if it is your husband, your neighbor, whom you're seeing, that they love to read books. Or even if your friend is not, you can have a challenge with them, like, okay, let's take one page, just one page together, we will read it today. Or you can keep a habit like, okay, I will try, like, for the next 20 days I will read one page per day, and I will tell whatever I read, I will summarize and tell to my friend or tell to my husband or tell to my colleagues, this is what I learned today. Nowadays I'm seeing in Facebook, they are having this challenge for 100 days. You can choose your friends, you can go for a challenge, one page per day. What is it? Summarize, study, you learned from it. I used to ask my son, read a chapter from Bhagavatam and write a summary, and you should summarize that before we go to sleep. So bedtime talk is what he read, what is that he understands. So either he reads for himself, but he will read and remember the points just to have a chit chat before we goes to sleep. You can try that way. With this association, you can win the war with your mind, which is stopping you or blocking you to read. Whatever books you can take, but maybe you and your friend can read together, or you can have this challenge. Next is illuminate. Distance yourself from the mind by reading the spiritual books or practice mantra meditation. So Gita contains the software source code. What is that? So you can see this is the 8 steps, the process of falling down. So contemplating the object of the senses, which leads to attachment. Attachment develops lust. If lust is unfulfilled, anger arises. Anger leads to complete delusion, which bewilder our memory. Our intelligence is lost. Intelligence is superior, right? Thence we fall down. An example, everybody would come across this. Maybe let's take it as our marriage anniversary or your wife's birthday. She might be contemplating of how we can celebrate. Your wife is Googling what and all we can do and develops attachment. Then she compares, that couple did this one did it, oh my cousin, my niece. She creates a lust, develops a lust. Then on that day, husband forget it. Today is the anniversary or birthday. So wife get the anger, and that creates so much delusion. She will call and fight. Totally memory is gone. Your intelligence is gone. You guys will be screaming. Finally, fight. Did anyone come across this example? We don't know each other. You can tell. I hope your wife is not around or your husband is not around. Did it happen for anyone? Okay, let's proceed. Yeah. So this is another example with the alcoholic person. As we are having 4 minutes, I'm just moving along the same, how we are developing your contemplation, which leads to attraction, which creates the lust and irritation, and will create a delusion out of it. It's like, oh my God, you're saying so many shan. From where you got this? Is it really in Bhagavad Gita? Exactly, it is there in Bhagavad Gita, which is telling us how, which is giving you a warning. This is how mind tricks you. In this verse, Bhagavad Gita 2.62, Dhyayato visayan pumsa sanga steju pajayate sanga sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate. These steps is what we discussed in the flow chart. Krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smrtimastad buddhinaso buddhinasat pranashyati. So these 2 verses covers the 8 steps. So I said illuminate yourself, then meditate. There are so many ways we can meditate. It's like focusing on light. It's Buddhists, they will do the pranayama and meditate. This one is Kundalini yoga. You can do different asanas, but it is very difficult to make your mind to focus on one thing. That is what we saw. We try to focus, but mind distracts us. Wait a minute. You said meditate is a way. Now you are telling you cannot make your mind to focus. The proven method with Srila Prabhupada taught us is mantra meditation. So here there is no work for the mind. We are not thinking we have a mind. We are just ignoring the mind. We are just saying a mantra and listening to it. If you just practice that, saying loudly, listening, saying, listening, over a period of time, your mind will be practiced as like the dog, and it will listen to you what you want to say. So this is the mantra. So you are seeing in the screen. Let's recite together. Everybody, I'm unmuting everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm just ignored my mind. I'm just saying, I'm listening. That's it we want to do. So what we read so far, the summary is, we understood the difference between body, mind, and our soul. Mind, intelligence, and brain are different. How is it tricking us? We saw so many references from Bhagavad Gita related to it. In this 1 hour session itself, we covered 6 to 7 points, which says us you should do this or you should not do this. We saw what are the ways mind will attack us, which is the bind, agitate, and distract. What is the remedy, or how we can counterattack, associate, illuminate, meditate. So here we are ending our session. If you have any questions, we can stay how much ever longer. If you guys want, we can discuss. But before that, if you can show your face, come in the video. I would like to see who are my battalion, who I spoke with so far. And I would like to take a picture with you guys. Everybody.
Sandhya, this is Selva. So as I told,
yeah, sure,
I haven't
no worries.
lived for a long time, so I'm not coming in the video.
Sure, no worries. Atiti, Bhakti, Varsha. Still, Yogeshwari Mataji, Bhakti Mataji, Shuddha Bhakti Mataji, Chandri Mataji. There you go. I can see Anand, Veena. Nancy. So Atiti is also one of the soldier in my team to win against the war, is it?
Yes.
Niharika. Chintan Prabhu, is it fine? Would you like to take a picture?
Yeah. 1 minute. There are some more folks like Veena, Nancy. Do you mind? Niharika. Turn on your video. Niharika, Veena, Nancy. That's possible.
So they are leaving. No, if you ask me to show my face, I will leave.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't want to come.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we will be having session like this on different topics. If you are interested, you can send a message to that number which you are registered or in the flyer. We will be having a course on Bhagavad Gita as well as Discover Yourself. We are planning for a 5 days, 5 sessions every weekend. So you can express your interest to that number, or if you'd like to know about some different topics, whatever we spoke so far, something with related to mind or intelligence. Wait a minute, you said body and soul is different. If you guys have any sort of questions, or if you like to hear anything more, you can tell us through the WhatsApp number. We will keep you in our loop. And if you have any questions, we can take it up. Okay, if you don't have any questions, we can end the session. Chintan Prabhu, you have.
Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone for joining, and we will be reaching out to you. Those who have registered through Eventbrite, we have their email ID, and we'll be reaching out to you. We have good programs, talks lined up in future also, so we'll be reaching out to you. Thank you everyone for joining. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for the night session.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.